All right, I'm Ron Smith, Extension Entomologist here with Dr. Scott Graham, new entomologist for cotton, soybeans, and peanuts in Alabama with Extension Service. Today we want to talk about grasshoppers just a few minutes because they have been we've had more calls about the grasshopper pest than anything else this spring, and this is nothing totally new. Actually, we've been dealing with this grasshopper issue for 10 or more years. It really began when we started burning down fields and planted it with reduced tillage, as you can see in the field behind us here. In mild winters, when we have maybe less than normal rainfall, there's sandier soils in the state, which basically includes about everything from Montgomery south. We're just getting a lot of overwintering grasshoppers. They spend the winter in a little pod or a little tube down in the soil, and they come out in the spring, but they don't come out at the same time, so they emerge over a 6 or 8 week period. And it's just we never know when they're going to feed on our seedling cotton or not. The most susceptible stage is when the cotton is in the crook stage or the cotyledon stage, and you may find a lot of grasshoppers in the field. We don't have a threshold for it, probably never will have, because some years they'll be out there for weeks and never damage a plant, and other years you'll come out and overnight they've wiped out your stand, you'll have to replant. We've got a couple of places like that this year. So it's just the risk that a farmer wants to assume, but we're suggesting spraying for grasshoppers. And if you'll notice, the deeper sands and the certain fields will have a propensity to have more grasshoppers every spring, so we need to particularly key in on those fields, and we need to include a grasshopper adulticide and kill them, even though they may be immatures. Kill them when we burn down our product, and we'll put some Dimilin in there, which has a long residual, it's an insect growth regulator, and it would take care of those that come out later. So we're just suggesting we're going to have, if a grower don't want to assume a lot of risk, they're going to have to include grasshoppers as a pest of cotton to deal with and reduce tillage fields, and particularly the deep sands of the state, and that would include also Cherokee County, those areas up in northeastern Alabama.
What's the best adulticide for?
That's a good question. The best adulticide is when they're immatures. About anything labeled for cotton is a very adequate treatment on immature grasshoppers, but after about 30 plus days from the time they emerge, they become adults, and adults are very, very difficult to control. There's really only one product that we're recommending right now for adult grasshoppers, and that is acephate orthene at 3/4 pound.
So another point we'd like to make on grasshoppers is when you're scouting the field and walking around and looking for them, you need to make sure you're walking through the entire field. With some pests, maybe we can get away with just making a border spray, but often the grasshoppers are probably going to be throughout the entire field. So you need to make sure you're walking and looking and observing for grasshoppers, and be prepared to spray the whole field and not just borders.